Greetings. Hey, 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 hey. Now stop. All right, greetings everyone. Hi, my name is Miss Asia Educates and welcome to my live. I'm so excited. You guys see the prompt, late night homeschool chat. So if you're a homeschool parent, this is going to be for you. If you're not homeschooling, you're pro public school, come on in, come on in. I also have a little box here to invite you to join the conversation. Which is better, homeschool or public school, and why? I would love to hear your input on this. We just chatting it up. All my pro homeschool people, come on in. All my pro public school people, come on in. Let's have a conversation. Which one can we say is better? All right, which one long term is going to get our kids where they need to be long term? We're going to have the conversation. Come on in. Again, my name is Miss Asia Davis, aka Miss Asia Educates. I am a licensed educator and I'm also a second generation homeschool mom. And yes, I've been to both brick and mortar and I've been to homeschool before, so I know a lot about this topic in general. All right, and also check me out on my YouTube channel, Miss Asia Educates. Up there, I go a deep dive to help parents educate their children in excellence. If you like good information like that, go ahead and check out my YouTube channel. I have a bunch of good stuff, a bunch of good resources up there. So let's get into it. So let's go ahead and get into it, guys. Greetings again. Welcome. My name is Miss Asia, aka Miss Asia Educates, and welcome to my live. Today we are going to be talking about homeschool versus public school. Which one is better and why? So I have a little spiel here. If you agree with me, awesome. Go ahead and type in the comments if you feel what I'm saying. If you don't, you're like, not really feeling it, not really feeling it at all. Or you want to comment, you can also comment below. By the end, after I've done my little spiel, I would allow people to come up into the box to address this. Which is better, homeschool or public school, and why? So if you're pro public school, stand up for your ground. If you're pro homeschool, come up from the ground. The whole goal is to get the best excellence for our children in general. So which one is that and why? Okay, so let's go ahead and get into that. And like I said, hey everyone, welcome in. Tonight we're going to talk about something that's always gets people in the comments. Maybe not. But we're not doing opinion tonight, okay? We are doing research-based information, and we're talking about what public school does well, what homeschool does well, what the data actually says about outcomes, and how parents can decide what's best for their child, okay? A little bit of background information about myself. I am a licensed educator. I'm also a second-generation homeschool mom. Right now, I am a homeschool mom, right this second. And, so far it's been pretty good. So far it's been pretty well. Both of my kids are in preschool, obviously, so it's a little easy right now. But I also tutor as well. I tutor upper elementary to high school, basically. So I have like the ins and outs of educating children on a one-on-one basis, small group, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So would love to insert my own opinion, right, and my own experiences, but today we're really going to be looking into research, okay? So we're going to talk about what public school does well, what homeschool does well, and what data actually says about outcomes, and how parents can decide what's best for their child. So tell me in the chat, were you public school, homeschool, or private school? Go ahead and put it in the chat, please. What type of schooling did you do, and which one really had you going like, okay, like, yeah, I think I got a pretty good education? Or was it like, yeah, I was public school and I hated it and it was terrible, or I was homeschooled, I loved it, it was awesome? Whatever it is, go ahead and write that down in the chat while I'm going to head and do this spiel. First things first, this is not a bash public school live, okay? Yes, I know I'm pro public school. This is not a bash public school, you know, public school is just so terrible, da-da-da. We all know teachers work extremely hard. Public schools educate millions of kids every year, and they're doing the best they can with what they're given. All right, so this is not that. But parents should understand all the options available to them, because the truth is children are not a one-size-fits-all type of learner. Some kids thrive in traditional classrooms, and others thrive in a homeschool environment. So at the end of the day, if you're a good parent, you're going to do whatever it takes to educate your child to the best of your ability. Okay. And y'all, if y'all see me pause or whatever, because I probably gotta get my baby. Because my baby, I'm watching her, she's chilling, but I think she's done with her time. So I'm about to go grab her real quick. So if you see me pause, that's why. All right, but let's go ahead and get into this next spiel. I don't see her. She's kind of babbling, but I'm probably about to get up in like 2 minutes. All right, so what public school does well according to the research? So number one, public school gives you social exposure. So public schools offers daily interactions with many students. Okay, different types of students, different types of backgrounds, different types of religions, teamwork, conflict resolution, group collaboration. It's something that it's a type of education system where they're able to get access to all sorts of types of people in the world. Okay, research from National Center for Education Statistics, NCES, shows students in structured school environments often gain strong group communication skills. Often. Okay, is this always the rule? Not really. Okay, it just depends. It depends on how much social exposure you're talking about. But yes, so again, that is something according to research that they do well. Okay, cool. I'm doing something. Oh, go throw it in the trash. Hold on, y'all. I'll be right back. I'm gonna pause for just. All right, guys. So I'm back. I'm with my baby now. That's why I'm sideways. So like we were saying before, so number one, public school. These are things that they say public school does well at according to research. So according to research, what public school does well according to research is the social exposure. So they're exposed to different types of people and different types of situations, teamwork, conflict resolution, group collaboration, etc. Number two, they have access to specialized resources. So science labs, sports teams, art programs, music programs, special education services. Not every homeschool environment can easily replicate those resources. And that's true. However, they're doing a good job, I think, so far. Because there's so many things like OutSchool. There's so many different types of programs nowadays that actually kind of put this stuff in the dust. I'm not going to lie. But again, I'm not trying to be biased here. All right, let's continue. So access to specialized resources. Not every homeschool environment can easily replicate those resources. That is true, such as in our homes, but hence why we have homeschool co-ops. Number three, professional teachers. Teachers are trained in curriculum design, developmental learning, and classroom management. Many public school teachers are incredible educators who deeply care about students. This is so true. And even just being as an educator, I've been in the system and I still to this day, I'm just like, nah, personally. But according to them, that's one thing that a lot of people like to tell homeschool parents or people that are thinking about homeschool. Oh, are you qualified? You know, the public system has qualified teachers, yada yada yada. And that's sometimes that is most of the time the case, depending on like what state you're in. However, because there's been such a big teacher shortage, let's also add this in there as well. There's such a big teacher shortage that now people that might not have had that 4-year degree from a real accredited teaching profession, like program, like a state program or something like that, a lot of them are just coming from different types of field. If you have a 4-year degree or a 2-year degree, even in some cases, they're still allowing these people into the classroom. They just have to like do a couple of classes and that's it, and they become a teacher. So it just depends on how in-depth or not in-depth different things are. Number 4, consistency for working parents. So public schools provide, this is probably a big one, public schools provides structure for families where both parents work full time. So public school is more so better for someone who has both parents, one's not at the home, etc. This can be very helpful for millions of households if they need 2 parents to run a household. All right, so what do you love about public school growing up? So I'm not gonna lie. Me growing up in public school, I've been through all sorts of schools. I've been to private, public, and I've been homeschooled. And I would say public school is maybe my second best. Homeschool is number 1. Public school is number 2. And I would say that because I was actually in public school that actually cared and was very rigorous. When I was at private school, I couldn't even read. So I know a lot of people, they might be like, oh, private school, it's a better option. You really do need to make sure that you are putting forth your research to make sure that when you are giving people your money, that they actually are giving your child a good education. Because even though my parents were forking over a bunch of money for me to go to private school for like 3-4 years, I still left that private school by 2nd grade and still could not read. Really? I'm sorry. Do you need to lay down? You can lay down. Or you can get some water. There's some water on the table. If you need help, I can go get it. So yeah, just because so-called you go to a private school or case maybe that doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to be the best education. You really have to do your research. The public school I actually went to was actually a small public school, so like I think as many people we had in each classroom was maybe 13 students. It was very small. So water. No, just water. Drink. Okay, well then you can go have a seat. Dinner's almost ready. So anyway, see the little sippy cup. But yeah, so with that being said, what do you love about public school? The fact that I actually learned how to read when I was in public school. And of course, both of my parents also worked a lot. Like my mom worked a lot and my dad worked a lot. And she didn't end up actually being a stay-at-home mom until after we came back from overseas. My dad was in the military. So I don't know, there's a lot of factors. Two parents working, private school, probably not really paying attention like that, which is why my inability to read kind of went over the radar. The private school was so big on the cursive thing too. They're like, oh, your child can write cursive. Your child will be able to write cursive, which I could, but I really wasn't that good at writing in print. And I couldn't read. So it's like, at the end of the day, it's like, I'm in second grade. What am I doing? I don't even know what I was doing. But anyway, I went to public school and they made learning fun. So we would do like math and they would integrate different types of projects and activities. A lot of hands-on stuff, not just like worksheets. So that's what I loved about being at this particular private public school, because they were not playing when it came to our education. And we ended up like scoring pretty darn good and stuff like that when I was at that public school. But yeah. So if you have any other, so what did you love about public school growing up? Go ahead and put it in the comments if you were part of the public school system. Now, what homeschooling does well, according to research. Now, so academic performance. Research from National Home Education Research Institute. Hold on, y'all. So what homeschooling does well, it's academic performance. Homeschoolers, on average, perform 15 to 30 percentile points higher on standardized tests than the average compared to public school students. So, and this is from the National Home Education, NHERI. Okay, so they especially when it comes to ELA and reading. Now, math is it's like kind of the same. I think it's about like, I think maybe public school has it by like a very small margin, but a very tiny margin. Even more interesting, this result appears regardless of parents' income or education level. Let me say that again. Kids, homeschool students score 15 to 30 percentile points higher on standardized tests on average compared to public school students. Even more interesting, this result appears regardless of parents' income or education level. So guess what? You could be in the poverty level homeschooling your child and they will still perform better than the average student in the public school system. Go figure. Or education level. Okay, number 2, personalized learning. Homeschool allows pacing adjustment, focus on strengths, and extra support in weak areas. So you get more time on one-on-one time at that, or small group, if anything, because they have just their siblings and so forth. If a child struggles with math, parents can slow down. If they excel in reading, they can accelerate. So you can go as fast as you want, or you can go as slow as you want to make sure that your child gets it. This type of individualized education is extremely difficult in a class of 25 students, which is basically about the national average. And then the crazy thing is, in elementary school, depending on the state, they do have cutoffs. So you can only have up to, I believe, 21 to 25 students from kindergarten to 3rd. After 3rd grade, there is no cap. So you can have a classroom full of 40, 50, 60 students, really. At that time, which is in some cases, in some cities, that is actually the case. So big caseload, and do you expect your child to really excel like as if they could versus if they were doing like a one-to-one or a smaller group? Yeah, that's a big difference. Number 3, strong family relationships. Many studies show homeschooled students report closer relationship with parents and siblings. Learning becomes a family culture instead of just a school environment requirement. So a lot of times, parents don't really, without them really saying it, parents don't value education. You can see that because when they come home, they're not really interested in what their child is learning, what the child is doing. Greetings, Keith. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And that becomes detrimental because guess what? The kids are like, oh, I just got to do school at school. I don't have to bring school home, right? And they just think that learning is just something that you do, 8 hours a day, right? And then when you come home, you don't really have to do that. But it's different because in the homeschool environment, strong family relationships are bonded and learning becomes a family culture instead of just a school requirement. So so you get to know your mom really well. You get to know your siblings really well. You all get to spend a lot of time together. And that results in closer relationships. So when you're older, I am a lot closer with my brother now compared to before I was homeschooled. Before I was homeschooled, I really didn't hang out with my brother like that. But then after homeschool, we were forced to kind of be around each other and stuff. And now, as older, we're a lot closer, and I definitely see the difference. I'm very close to my mom as well. She's the one that homeschooled us. Yeah, but anyway, so that's basically how that goes. Number 4, flexible learning environment. So homeschool allows learning through travel, museums, nature, apprenticeships, real world experience, and education becomes life integrated. So you don't have to, it doesn't just stop in the classroom. When it comes to homeschooling, hold on, y'all. After you eat dinner. Okay, I'm about to make your plate in just a second. All right, you just had a little snack. You can get an apple if you want one. Okay. Get an apple. So anyway, yeah, so flexible learning environment. Guys, I went to Lowe's. My kids love going to Lowe's because we actually integrate math when we go to Lowe's. I told them to identify shapes and 3D shapes, 2D shapes. We do math problems when we go to Lowe's, all sorts of stuff. So grocery store, same thing. Go over colors, go over shapes, all sorts of things. And I can only imagine when they're older, I'm going to make them help me budget. I'm going to make them help me. They know how to clean a room very well. Like their room, the front room where we have our homeschool classroom, they clean it just as good as I do now. And I'm working on dishes. I'm working on being a good citizen, picking up trash even if we don't drop it outside, all sorts of stuff. Flexible learning environment, travel, museums, nature, and then of course, because the main reason why I'm here is because I'm trying to build disciples in Christ. So guess what? Every single day, we read. They know how to pray, and they know how to, of course, they're only like 4 or 5 or whatever it can be, or 2, 4. So they can't really read on their own yet, like read the Bible. But I do read the Bible to them, stories. They kind of understand who the stories are about, what the issues and the problems are, like the fallen state of man. That's what I try to really emphasize, and how we do have a Savior who helps us be good, basically, through the Holy Spirit. So like those type of ideas are all integrated, not just at church, right? Even though church is a great place, but church, in home, outside the home, all that stuff is all integrated into life, and we actually do what we teach. All right, that is important. That's the homeschool advantage right there. Number 5, character values. Oh, I was about to get into the character values. For many families, homeschooling allows parents to guide. Okay, so it's not in the public school system. I don't people realize that there's so many influences that are trying to catch your child's attention, right? So on one hand, what's trying to catch their child's attention on one hand could be maybe a peer, right? And maybe they're not the best influence. Maybe they are a good influence. It just depends. Maybe it's a certain peer in the classroom. Maybe it's the teacher themselves. Maybe it's the principals, the counselor. There's so many different influences and so many different people that are trying to tug at your child's attention. Another thing that also tugs at your child's attention as well are screens, all right? So TV, video games, one-to-one devices, those also take away time and actually can morph your child's brain. So if they're watching certain things on YouTube, movies, shows, video games, those are all swaying their perspectives on life outside of things that you teach them as a parent, right? So a good thing that I'm actually learning from a book that I'm reading, it's called Parenting by the Book. I definitely would definitely recommend it to any parent who's trying to parent as Christ called us to parent. But even if you're secular, it's still a good read, because guys, when I tell you that it says, hey, one of the chapters that really stood out to me recently was that it was saying, okay, out of all the time in which your child is being influenced during a day. So for you public school parents, you automatically go ahead and subtract 8 to 10 hours, right? With them being in public school, including after school, including anything to do with school or whatever case may be, go ahead and take that time away, okay? Then, remember, you're subtracting for a 24-hour period. Then put in any extracurricular. So if they go to, I don't know, chess team, or if they go have karate, or if they do swim lessons, whatever, deduct that time. How much time are they on screens? Deduct that time, because you're not teaching them
on
The,
bee on the hair.
There's no bee. No, it's just lint. It's just lint, probably. Because your hair is luxurious, girl. Okay, eat your apple. Look at you. Look, so cute, girl. See, I'm a cutie. All right, you're not a cutie today? I thought you were a cutie. 2-year-olds. One day she's a cutie. One day she's not a cutie. You are a cutie today? Okay, good. Yeah. I thought so. All right, but so anyway, it was saying you gotta subtract all that time. So you're subtracting. There's so many other influences besides school. So it's like, as a parent, how much time do you have with your child? And before you know it, it could only be 2 hours a day. And if you add that up over time, over what, over 52 weeks, or how many weeks are in a year where he's gonna be? That's not a lot of time. We're looking at, you're only with your child 10%, 20% on a good day, influencing your child, but 80% of the time they're being influenced by somebody else, right? That's alarming, and that made me think, okay, yeah. So as a homeschool parent, it's a little different. We only have school an hour a day. We only do school an hour a day. Yes, my children are in preschool, but half the time is transition. Instruction time, or like time I'm teaching, is, I promise you, like maybe 15 minutes. The rest of the time we're just doing activities and stuff, and we're like learning together and stuff like that, hands-on stuff. But the actual learning stuff is maybe 30 minutes. The rest of that is just transitions or random stuff that might happen within the hour, like especially dealing with a 2-year-old, a preschooler, and a close to a newborn. Like, it's unpredictable, but we're done with everything within an hour. But is that really what's happening in the public school system? Probably not. The average homeschool only operates 1 to 3 hours a day. So it's like 1 hour for elementary school, 2 hours for middle school, and 3 hours for high school on average, right? So all that time you're spending with them, teaching them, and then guess what? After that, you're probably hanging out with your kiddo and stuff. Maybe, hopefully, prayerfully. I know I am. I'm in my kid's face all day, every day. But yeah, you have to. The more and more influence they have, the less and less influence you have, and then behaviors show up, and you're wondering, hey, where'd you learn that from? Like, I never said that. I don't think like that. Where'd you get that from? Then you gotta look, I don't know, was it the TV? Was it the school system? Was it one of their peers? Like, when crazy stuff starts coming up, you need to see, okay, who has my child been around? Who is their influence? And go ahead and nip those things in the bud. But yeah, the character value component is definitely great. So for many families, homeschooling allows parents to guide moral development, faith formation, worldview. This matters to many parents who want values integrated into education. And myself, values is what drives a person. Values is what can outlast, your bank account, really. At the end of the day, for us, values is eternal. So yeah, that we definitely got to get that done. So 30 to 30. So here we go. So we're also going to go ahead and address the myths. So compared to the public school system, I feel like that was all checks. That was like 5 things. And I think public schools have maybe 4 things that they do better with, according to research. Now let's talk about the biggest myth about homeschooling. So people always say, but what about socialization? That's always like the main thing. What about socialization? Like, there's no such thing as bullying and things like that. Like, just ignoring all the other negative things that you can see in public schools, like the drama and all that stuff. Not don't get me wrong, there's always drama anywhere. Where there's broken people, there's going to be drama, but there's always some type of other thing going on. But anyway, research actually shows that homeschool students participate in more mixed age social environments than the public school system child does. Okay, examples are church groups, sports leagues, co-ops, community volunteering, and internships. Okay, homeschool children socialize all the time. Instead of being around only the same age peers all day, which in the public school system that is a thing, that they're only going to be around 3rd graders, they're only going to be around 1st graders, they're only going to be around 5th graders. That's not the case with homeschools. With they interact with children and adults of different ages. So they interact with all sorts of people. So they like, what's it called? Trisocial, whatever the case may be, where they're able to just integrate with multiple type of people. I guess multisocial, different age groups and stuff, which actually mirrors the real world more closely. So the socialization experience that a homeschool person goes through is actually more closely related to real world versus the public school socialization. Okay. So here are some famous homeschoolers, because y'all already know I'm from homeschool. But my homeschool people, go ahead and put in the chat. Public school people, if y'all like, nah, public school all day, go ahead and put it in the chat. Go ahead and put it in the comments. But just here's some famous homeschoolers that maybe y'all didn't know. Okay, Thomas Edison homeschooled by his mother after struggling in traditional school. So his mom was like, get out of that school, and look, he made the light bulb. Alexander Graham Bell was partially homeschooled. Abraham Lincoln was largely self-educated with minimal formal schooling. Okay, modern influential figures, Serena Williams homeschooled while training for tennis. Simone Biles, okay, the Biles, okay, the Olympic gold medalist. She was homeschooled during elite training. And a lot of times if you see all these actors and athletes, they're really good because they were homeschooled. Because they can put all their time and energy into their craft, really. Tim Tebow was homeschooled and later started a foundation supporting homeschool athletes. Okay, and there's been celebrities. There's all sorts of people that are homeschooled nowadays. All right. Homeschooling doesn't limit success. For many people, it actually allowed them to develop their gifts earlier because you're able to go after things that you're actually interested in. And your parents are kind of just, instead of just be kind of stuck in a box, you're pushed more when you're in a homeschool environment that's more tailored to things that you're actually interested in, as well as academics, spiritual foundations, etc. All right, so here's my conclusion. Here's the honest truth. Public schools work well for many families. Homeschool works well for many families as well. The real question is, what environment helps your child flourish? Okay, so that's when you have to think about it. Education should not be about convenience. Okay, with homeschool, yes, it is a sacrifice. I know one of the biggest reasons why people homeschool is because they feel like they can't afford it. Okay, but if you value a good education and you value where your child will be in the long term, you would definitely figure it out. I know a lot of people in the homeschool community that are single moms or single dads, and they still figure it out and they still homeschool and their children are excelling. And it's crazy. Also, those people that even outside of that, people that are married families and they actually have the traditional thing where the husband goes out and works and then the wife is stay-at-home mom, such as myself. Being in this role, it's so crazy because God blesses us because I'm supposed to be here. You know what I'm saying? So he's going to bless whatever. If you feel like there's a pulling and a tugging at your heart saying, hey, like I really want to hone in on academics. I want to hone into really taking control of influence my child over a long period. And I want to really gather a relationship and just, do this homeschool thing. Put it in God's hands, and guess what? It's crazy because since I've been in this position, God has been blessing us even more so that we can continue to homeschool. You know what I'm saying? So if that's in the card for you and your family and God's been tugging at your heart, go ahead and answer that call because you are doing something that's going to last an eternity. You are planting seeds early, right? So they'll be able to understand things a lot easier. I know for me growing up, I think my family was more part of the charismatic movement a little bit. But as I think that's one thing of being homeschooled, as I became more educated into the Bible and reading it for myself and studying it for myself and things like that, and God Holy Spirit just revealing things to me, I was able to see, oh snap, like that's wrong. Okay, these are real biblical principles. This is what my children should know, and this is what's going to deter them from things of the world, etc. that sometimes gets weaved into the to churches, so to speak.
Mommy.
Like the charismatic movement.
Make my person angry.
I just got an apple. Okay, you gotta wait because I'm literally about to give you fish. I'm about to get off in like 5 minutes. Okay? What time is it? Yeah, about 5 minutes. Alright, I'm almost done. Okay? Alright, so are you gonna finish your movie? Or you wanna sit in here?
Something else.
You want something else?
Yeah, I want something else.
Okay, we'll do that in just a second. Okay, can you just chill out just for 5 more minutes? You got this. But anyway, like I said, from being like self-taught, I guess growing up, I was able to kind of search and look and research, and I'm like, oh snap. Like, I need to read this word for myself because we've been bamboozled. Like, I cannot, right, even to this day, because God has definitely matured my heart, my mind, and my spirit, it needs to be all biblical. If you're not in that word, and when you're talking to me, like as far as like pastoral ministry or whatever case may be, it needs to be good. Like I need to be eating on that word while you're talking. I do not like motivational speeches. If I want a motivational speech, I can go to YouTube. I didn't come here for a motivational speech. I came here for the word, to understand what's going in the word in context. Give me that word straight, you know? And then of course like the prayer and so forth. But anyway, I feel like homeschool really helped me to do that though, you know, during that journey, and to kind of come out of the charismatic movement. And that's why I'm kind of like against it low key, but not low key, high key. But anyway, back to the homeschool thing. That's me talking about spiritual journey. So balance conclusion. So here's the honest truth. Public school works for many families. Homeschool works well for many families. The real question is, what environment helps your child flourish? Education should not be about convenience. Like I said again, like if God is tugging at your heart to say, hey, homeschool or something like that, don't ignore the call. He's gonna make a way for it. You know what I'm saying? And of course that just means, it might just mean budgeting. It might just mean, hey, we're not gonna eat out every week. You know what I'm saying? I feel like people be like, oh, children are so expensive. They're expensive as you want them to be. You know what I'm saying? If you're a materialistic person, of course they're going to be too expensive for you, right? But if you're willing to sacrifice, and you're willing, like the Bible tells us to do, we are to live not for ourselves, but we're to live for others, right? Love your neighbor as yourself. I love my children as I love myself. Therefore, guess what? I'm going to put their needs equal to mine, if not above. You know what I'm saying? But of course, I'm going to put God first, husband, then the children. But that's kind of how that goes. So a lot of times we don't want to do something because we want to be selfish. We want to be like, oh, I want my time, da 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 da. No, like this time is not that long. You only have children for a small season, right? Until they're 18, in our house 25, 20, 23, 25. That's when they kind of become mature, or in case maybe, you know, when they're financially able to be stable. Just because when you kick somebody else at 18, you know, I was very immature at 18. My parents did not kick me out, so I'm not doing the same thing for my children. Not coddling them, but they're still going to be working, etc. So it just depends. What do you value? What do you value? Do you value your child's education? Do you value giving your children a leg up in life, spiritually, academically, emotionally, financially, being closer to them? Check. Homeschool. Okay? Check. Homeschool. All right. So so let's go ahead and do the closing, because I got to feed my babies here. They already ate, but let me feed them some more. They've been eating all day, but we be eating late, y'all. We start the day late, and then we be eating late. It is what it is. I'm trying. All right. So this is where, so before we end tonight, I want to encourage parents. You have more educational options today than ever before. They have hybrids where your child can go to public school online and then be homeschooled. They have Montessori online. They have so many options, guys. There's so many options. And the homeschool is increasing year over year like never before. There's been like a huge boom in the United States of homeschool. So you're not alone. When I was homeschooled, crickets. Nobody. Okay? It was people out there, but we didn't have all the technology and stuff to connect with people and stuff. So it was just like, we had to get it where we fit in. You know what I'm saying? We just had to do word of mouth back in the day. But now, no, you can get on Facebook groups. There's so many different people and helping. And guys, if you want to know more about homeschool, hit me up. Go to Miss Asia Educates. I help parents from the start. If you don't know where to start, come to my channel, okay? I tell it all in depth on the YouTube channel. I have something called the Homeschool Framework System, where you can teach your child from beginning to end and have success. The whole system, planning, instruction, all that is up there. Go ahead and check out my YouTube channel. But anyway, homeschool doesn't mean doing it alone. There are homeschool co-ops, online classes, hybrid schools, community groups. If you're curious about homeschooling, start researching. And if you enjoy a discussion like this, follow me. I'm Miss Asia Educates. And I'm also on YouTube. I love helping families think deeply about education. So if you like this, go ahead and follow. Thank you guys so much for listening to my spiel today. And yeah, like let me know. Message me if you're interested. Maybe you've been listening, or it case may be. Go ahead and message me. I would love to help at any time, any moment, any place. And I'm coming from both, like I said, second generation homeschool mom, licensed educator, tutor. Okay, so I could probably help you at least. If I don't know the answer, I can guide you in the right direction. But I'm telling you, a lot of those answers are on YouTube channel. So check that out. Miss Asia Educates on YouTube. All right. But thank you guys so much. I hope you guys have a wonderful night. Grace and peace. Ciao, ciao.